Welcome, brave listener. We're proud of you for traveling through the dangers of the web and arriving here unharmed. Therefore, we must reward you. Today, we venture beyond the map's edge to explore 5 terrifying travel stories that defy explanation and test the limits of reality. From the sinister grasp of a ventriloquist doll that whispers from the past, to a harrowing night in a foreign jail, from a ghostly encounter that turns a routine bus ride into a struggle for survival, to an unexpected detour that transforms a family holiday into a race against time. And finally, a desperate escape from an erupting volcano that strands travelers in limbo. These are tales of wanderers who found themselves on the thin line between adventure and nightmare. Prepare yourself, for these stories are your passport to the eerie, the unexplained, and the downright terrifying. Welcome to the dark side of travel. Story 1, Precipice of Fear, a Jamaican escapade.
The Jamaican sun cast its golden hues over our mother-daughter voyage, a journey embarked upon to celebrate the milestone of my 40th year. The essence of adventure coursed through our veins as we sought solace in a secluded retreat, far from the trappings of the conventional path, where the sea met the sky in a dance of natural splendor. Our abode, perched upon a cliff, offered no sandy shores, but instead a rugged precipice from which one could plunge into the crystalline waters below. Our days were filled with exploration, walking along the cliff's edge, where fields stretched into eternity on one side and the vast blue expanse beckoned from the other. The thrill of discovery propelled us forward until we encountered a chasm in the earth, a test of courage and leap of faith that stood between us and uncharted waters. Complicating our adventure was my mother's recent injury, a testament to her indomitable spirit, yet a hindrance in the face of our current challenge. With her arm bound by the weight of a broken collarbone, the option to climb was fraught with peril. Having navigated the gap with ease, I turned to assist her, confidence in our success. Yet, as she made the crossing, a harrowing realization dawned upon me. The journey back bore a different aspect, one fraught with danger. In a split second, I was faced with an impossible choice, and as she fell, a scream tore from my depths, a sound born of primal fear and desperation. Miraculously, fate intervened, guiding her descent into the solitary embrace of water amidst the jagged rocks, a cushion against the grim outcome that had seemed inevitable. Bruised and battered, with a finger bent in testament to her ordeal, she emerged from the ordeal a survivor. By some stroke of divine providence, the direst injuries were evaded, leaving us to marvel at the slender thread upon which life hangs. In the aftermath of that fateful day, the echo of our laughter still mingles with the roar of the sea against the cliffs, a reminder of the fragility of existence and the bonds that tether us. My mother, undeterred by the shadow of death that loomed over us in Jamaica, still harbors a wanderlust, though our quests for adventure now tread a path of greater caution. This tale, etched into the annals of our family's lore, stands as a beacon to the unyielding spirit of exploration and the unwavering bond between a mother and her daughter, tested against the precipice of fear.
Story 2, Shadows in Pamplona.
Several autumns ago, the spirit of adventure whisked me away to Pamplona, Spain, for the famed running of the bulls. Without a set plan or reservation, I found myself swept up in the fervor of the festival, a traveler adrift in a sea of revelry and ancient tradition. Pamplona, though modest in size, was bursting at the seams with enthusiasts from around the globe, leaving me without a place to rest my head. The solution, albeit unconventional, was to follow the lead of many others and seek solace in the city's parks, only to be thwarted by nocturnal sprinklers set to deter us, nomadic souls, from finding peace. After 2 restless nights battling the elements, I ventured to a quieter space on the fringes of the celebration, where sleep finally found me, if only for a fleeting moment. As dawn painted the sky with the first light of day, I made my way back to the heart of Pamplona. The empty streets, which just hours before had pulsed with life, now seemed eerily deserted. It was then that shadows materialized, a group of youths emerging from the void with intentions as dark as the night fading behind us. Surrounded and isolated, fear gripped me as a knife gleamed in the dim morning light, its blade a silent demand for my belongings. Panic set in, and I found myself shouting into the void, a futile attempt to escape. In a swift motion, my fanny pack, and with it a piece of my world, was severed from me, leaving me standing alone, the echoes of their retreat, the only response to my calls for help. In the aftermath, amidst the adrenaline and disbelief, I was left to ponder the lessons etched into my soul by that harrowing encounter. The importance of planning, the vulnerability of solitude in the shadowy embrace of dawn, and the wisdom of concealing one's valuables. These were the hard-earned truths I carried with me, alongside the gratitude for what was not lost. The ordeal in Pamplona, a stark contrast to the vibrant chaos of the festival, remains a vivid chapter in my journey, a reminder of the unpredictability of travel and the resilience of the human spirit.
Story 3, The Phantom Detainment.
On a fateful Halloween in the twilight of the 90s, my comrades and I, fueled by youthful daring, ventured across the border to Tijuana. The night, wrapped in the allure of adventure and the unknown, led us down paths we never imagined we'd traverse. Amidst the revelry, a decision was made, one that would tether us to the shadows of the night. Our pursuit of forbidden exhilaration was cut short by the long arm of the law, ensnaring me and a friend in its unyielding grasp. Processed and presented before an austere figure, we found ourselves cast into the depths of a local jail, a place where time seemed to pause and fate hung in the balance. In that dim, forsaken place, whispers of a plan to safeguard us, the gringos in the women's quarters to evade unspeakable fates sent chills down our spines. Fear, palpable and thick as the walls that confined us, became our unwelcome companion as we awaited our fate among souls lost to the world outside. The night stretched on, an endless void filled with the echoes of despair and the soft murmur of our wingmates, whose lives had taken turns as unforeseen as our own. The uncertainty of the morrow weighed heavily upon us, a spectral shroud that promised nothing but shadows. Yet, as dawn's first light pierced the darkness, salvation came in the form of our comrades, whose loyalty knew no bounds. Their quest through the night to secure our freedom was a testament to the unbreakable bonds of friendship. Exchanged for a handful of dollars and a watch, our release was secured, and the soil of home never felt so sweet beneath our feet. The ordeal left its mark upon us, a stark reminder of the precarious balance between adventure and peril. The lesson learned in those haunting hours was clear. The allure of the forbidden carries a price, one that may demand more than we are willing to pay. As we crossed back into the familiar, leaving behind the shadows of Tijuana, the promise was made, never to return, to tread more carefully on the path of life, mindful of the thin line that separates folly from disaster.
Story 4. Nightfall on the road to Mandalay.
In the serene darkness that blankets Myanmar from Yangon to Mandalay, I embarked on a journey that promised to etch itself into the marrow of my bones. With the optimism of a wanderer, I secured passage on what was touted as the premium choice of travel, a decision driven by the allure of comfort and an unspoken trust in safety. Yet, as the night unfurled its shadows, it became a harbinger of a reality far removed from the promises whispered at the ticket counter. Around the witching hour of 4 a.m., a sudden jolt tore through the silence, wrenching me from the grasp of uneasy slumber. The bus, a behemoth of steel and dreams, veered into a nightmare, its course altered by an unseen force that thrust us into a maelstrom of chaos. We collided with a specter in the night, a large pickup that materialized out of the void, sending us careening across the unseen boundaries of the road. In the aftermath, as we sought escape from the confines of our capsized haven, it became chillingly evident that the sanctity of our journey had been shattered. The bus, our chariot-turned-coffin, bore the scars of our ordeal, its form crumpled and twisted in a grotesque embrace with fate. Among us, a soul was ensnared in the wreckage, his existence extinguished beneath the weight of circumstance. The ordeal bonded us, survivors of the night, in a vigil for the departed, a somber congregation awaiting salvation's delayed embrace. When help finally arrived, it came as a benediction too faint to soothe the wounds of loss, a solemn reminder of the fragility of life. This harrowing experience shadowed the remainder of my sojourn, casting a pall over the paths yet to be trodden. The once liberating expanse of the road now bore the weight of apprehension, steering my steps towards the iron tracks that promised a semblance of security. My odyssey through Myanmar, marred by tragedy, imparted a wisdom, harsh and unyielding. The specter of chance looms ever present, a silent traveler on every journey. In lands where the dance of fate plays out unchecked by the vigilant gaze of regulation, the light of day becomes a sanctuary, and the embrace of a seatbelt, a talisman against the caprices of travel.
Story 5. The long road from the Algarve.
As the Portuguese sun dipped below the horizon, marking the twilight of our Algarve escapade, an unforeseen tempest brewed far beyond our coastal idyll. The eruption of Eyjafjallajökull, a name as foreboding as the ash it spewed, cast a shadow over our return, grounding flights and leaving us among the myriad souls adrift in its wake. Mark, tethered to the relentless cycle of work, faced the grim prospect of unpaid absence, propelling us into a frantic quest for passage back to the UK. The chaos of the moment, amplified by the cacophony of overloaded helplines and the quaint reliance on internet cafes for a digital lifeline, mirrored the turmoil that gripped the skies. Fortune, however, granted us a glimmer of hope through a serendipitous call, securing our passage from Calais to Dover. Yet the relief was short-lived, marred by the daunting realization of the journey ahead. The proposition of commandeering a Skoda Fabia across the span of Europe was as daunting as the fee it demanded, a stark testament to our desperation. With our belongings crammed into every conceivable space and the boys nestled amidst a sea of luggage, we embarked on our odyssey. The absence of my driver's license relegated me to the role of navigator, armed with nothing but a paper map to chart our course through the unknown. The journey was devoid of the leisure that had punctuated our holiday, replaced instead by fleeting rests in the shadows of San Sebastian and a truck stop near Le Mans. As Calais loomed on the horizon, the weight of our trek settled upon us, a weary band of travelers bound by a shared ordeal. The ferry terminal, a beacon of our impending journey home, was a scene of limbo, where we joined the ranks of those consigned to another night, ensconced in the confines of our temporary steel haven. Yet, amidst the fatigue and ennui, the promise of a ferry berth offered a solace denied to many. In the aftermath of our unexpected adventure, lessons were etched into the fabric of our family lore. The specter of catastrophe now looms as a reminder of the caprices of fate, guiding our preparations with the wisdom born of experience. And yet, the irony of our haste was not lost upon us, arriving to the news of reopened UK airspace, a testament, perhaps, to the unpredictable dance of chance that governs our journeys, both home and abroad.